Tom Cruise is maybe one of the craziest actors working in Hollywood right now. And that's largely due to his obsession of doing all of his own stunts. The payoff includes some of the best action sequences in the business. Let's take a look at some of the most insane stunts that he's managed to pull off during his career. Top Gun: Maverick. The first Top Gun was such a huge hit that it may surprise you to learn that Tom Cruise was reluctant to accept the role and in fact had one big condition for signing onto the project: he wanted to fly a plane. Cruise went from being landlocked to getting his own pilot's license. But there was one minor detail that had to be sorted out, and that was getting special Navy clearance for one of the stunts. It turns out the Navy is not crazy about people launching from their carriers, even if that person is a really famous celebrity. Special clearance was needed for one of the stunt, in which Cruise had to take off and zoom over the desert at an insanely low altitude. He claims it was one of the most extreme sequences that he could come up with, and over the course of the film, Tom got to fulfill every kind of aviation dream he ever had. The helicopter scene. The helicopter scene in Mission Impossible Fallout could have easily been filmed in the studio or with a professional stunt double, but Tom Cruise isn't gonna let anyone do the hard work when he can deliver the goods. So, did the only sensible thing and learned how to fly a helicopter in order to do the shot. Cruise learned how to fly a helicopter in a matter of months. So the crew developed special camera system to show us he really is flying on his own through a Mount of Passage. Now if that wasn't enough, Cruise also dangled from the side of the helicopter as his character intended to commandeer the vessel in the sky. The final result is one of the most nail-biting sequences ever in action movie history. The Halo Jump. High altitude low opening, or halo, is an extremely dangerous jump from an airplane that requires the jumper to wear a specialized suit to aid with breathing. Generally, it's reserved for specialized military personnel. Normally, when films have this kind of sequence, it's used with doubles or inside a studio. Tom Cruise, however, decided he was going to be the first actor to ever be filmed doing a halo jump on a camera for a film. The stunt was a part of filming from the recent release of Mission Impossible Fallout. The jump took place in over 2,500 feet, and Cruise had to wear a specialized helmet that would prevent him from getting oxygen sickness. The time of day and weather were edited and post, but the jump itself was for real. Hanging of the side of a plane. Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation is one of the craziest those in the franchise. And it wastes no time in showing you how crazy it is. The film opens up in the middle of a mission. And Ethan Hunt has to intercept a cargo plane, but he is a bit tardy, and the plane is already moving. So he does the only sensible thing. Jumps on the plane and hangs on as the plane takes off. Cruise was attached to a safety cable, which is a good thing, considering how crazy the stunt is. Bearing in mind the speed of the plane and the force of the winds, pinning Cruise down while doing the shot, we can agree this is one of his craziest stunts ever. Climbing the Burj Khalifa. Easily a high point of the entire franchise is when Tom Cruise climbed the Burj Khalifa skyscraper in Ghost Protocol. This was one of the craziest stunts Cruise has ever done. The scene could have easily been replicated with sets and CGI, but that wasn't good enough for Tom Cruise. Using support cables, Cruise was able to scale and swing around the high-rise, which peaks at 830 meters to the very top. The actor had an earpiece to take directions from Brad Bird, and the crew had camera gauge projecting out of the window to get some of the incredible shots. Deep breath. As Tom Cruise stated in a feature for Rogue Nation, most actors on set hold their breath for around 10 to 15 seconds when doing an underwater sequence before an oxygen supply is given to them. Cruise felt compelled to show everyone he can do the underwater Torres scene in Rogue Nation for much longer than that. While the tank details were green-screened later, in order to control the lighting and the turbine, the water tank itself was very real. And Tom learned how to hold his breath for 6.5 minutes for the scene. While the scene itself isn't one take, the fact that Cruise went out of his way to learn how to deep sea dive with experts shows his commitment for excellence. Knife to the eye. In the climax of the second Impossible film, Cruise as Ethan Hunt finds himself in a showdown with the villain as Sean. The two engage in a martial arts fight scene that's cut short when Sean draws a knife. At one point he pins Hunt down, and we see the knife held in place a quarter of an inch from his eyeball. That shot was done for real. And Tom was okay with it. The secret lies with what you don't see outside of the frame. The knife, which was real, was attached to a precision cable that was measured to a quarter of an inch from Cruise's eye. When Sean swung the knife down, the cable would lock the knife in place a quarter of an inch from his eyeball. Talk about having faith. Motorcycles. Aside from running a Tom Cruise movie, it just doesn't feel complete without an awesome motorcycle sequence. The Impossible series has quite a few of these, and they are all amazing. And if we had to pick one, it would have to be the Moroccan chase sequence in Rogue Nation, where Cruise is riding a bike over a mountains and curvy highway at high speeds without wearing a helmet. While he also speeds through Paris and Fallout, having the scene set over the cliffs and curves of the mountains at breakneck speeds makes this scene even more thrilling than the big city chase with all the traffic obstacles. Cliff climbing at Dead Horse Point. Mission Impossible 2 may be directed by the great John Woo, but it generally ranks as the least favorable among all the films in the series. But that doesn't mean the film is devoid of awesome stunts. The movie actually hits the ground running with an impressive sequence that would rattle the minds of most mortals. Cruise scales the Dead Horse Point cliffs in Utah using only his hands. Like most of his super dangerous stunts, he had a very small safety cable, just in case. But he adamantly refused to use any sets or safety nets when doing the awesome sequence. Not only did he save some money on editing out nets and post-production, but the resulting footage made the film sequence even more impressive. Cliffside jump. After a lengthy delay due to COVID-19, production on the next Mission Impossible movie has finally kicked off, and it doesn't look like Tom Cruise is slowing down one bit for Ethan Hunt and the gang's 7th cinematic outing. Just look at the size of that ramp built on a Norwegian cliff, and yes, this wild cliffside ramp is real. A new video from VGTV shows Tom Cruise speeding down the ramp and jumps, launching himself off the cliff. Then opens a parachute to glide down to safety. Can you believe that he is 58 years old? Well, that's it for now. Which stunt do you think Tom Cruise's craziest stunt? Let us know what you think in the comments below. For more videos, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos in this channel. Thanks for watching.